In this video, I wanted to go over some of the basic Linux OS information and show you some of the basic commands that you'll be using in this course. Linux operating system is organized in a tree-like pattern. The first directory in the file system is called the root directory. The root directory contains files and subdirectories, which contains more files and more folders and on and on. On this current server that I'm running, it's a Ubuntu server, which you'll be installing. To show you where I'm currently at, I would type out pwd, which represents print working directory, and it outputs a /, and that / represents the root of this operating system. To list the current folders and files where I'm currently at, you will use the command ls. It just refers to list. As you see, these are the folders and files within this root directory. To navigate within this, you'll use a command called cd. cd stands for change directory. And for example, if I want to go into the etc folder, I'll type change directory, etc, hit enter, and it takes me within the etc folder. I can list the contents of that folder, and these are all the folders and files within there. I can even go to further out to a different folder within the etc folder. I'll go to the apt folder, and I'll type list here, and there's more files and more folders. To go back, you would type change directory, ... will take you back one directory, or you can type cd /, which takes you all the way back to the root directory. So I'm going to type cd ... takes me back to etc, cd ... and now I'm back at the root directory. I'm going to show you how to create a folder and files. Just going to change directory and go into the temp folder. And I'll list the contents. There are currently files there. To create a folder, you type mkdir and just make directory, and then you name it whatever you want to name the folder. I'm just going to call this CIT255, make directory. Okay, hit ls, and as you can see, there's a folder there called CIT255, and I can go into that folder by typing change directory, CIT255, ls, and there's no files there, of course. So that's how you create a folder. To create an actual file, the easiest command to use is touch, and it's just an easy way to create empty files of any extension. So for example, I can touch, I'll name this cit.html, and I'll create another folder, I'll name it cit.text. So I've created two files. One's a HTML extension file, and another is just a regular text file. Now to edit those files, you have to use a text editor. The easiest one to use that I suggest using is called Nano, and it's installed by default. You type Nano and then the file name. So I'm going to go into the cit.html file, and of course it's empty, there's nothing there. I'm just going to just make up something here, CIT255, and just say this is a test page. And yeah, now to save these changes, down at the bottom is kind of the options you have. There's really only two that you'll be using quite often. The little caret before the letter represents control. To save changes to the file that you've edited, you'll hit Control O. O is an Oscar, and it'll ask you file name to write, hit enter. And to exit, you'll hold down Control, hit X. Down at the bottom, you can see that the O stands for write out, and just save it, and the X stands for exiting. So I'm going to hit Control X. It takes me back to the directory I was at out of the text editor. Now if I go back into that file, type in nano.cit.html, you see the changes I've made there to that text file, that HTML file. Same thing for this text file. I can nano.text. It'll be empty. I just created it, haven't done nothing to it. And this is test text file. And I'm going to Control O. And it's going to ask me, do I want to save? Yes. Control X. And there. Go back into it, and you see that there's the text I just put in. So now I'm going to delete these files. Now that I've created a file and folder, I'm going to go back and I'm going to delete these files, and I'm going to delete the folder. To delete a file, you just type RM, which stands for remove, and type the file name. And just a note, anything you're doing within the Linux operating system is case sensitive. So these files that I created them with all capitals. So if I went to say I wanted to delete these files, I'm going to remove, instead of typing capital, I'm just going to type lowercase. It's saying, oh, well, it can't find this file folder because it's case sensitive. It won't recognize it unless you type it exactly the way it is. So I'm going to remove cit.html. And cit.html is deleted. Same way with text. I'm going to rm delete text. Now the directory is empty. I'm going to go back to the temp folder. So I'm going to type change directory ... Takes me back one directory. I'm going to list the contents. And now I'm going to delete the folder I created called CIT255. And instead of RM, which RM will remove a file, to remove a directory or a folder, you'll type rmdir and then the directory name. And then that directory is gone. Another command that you're going to be using, not so often, but it will tell you something useful, and you'll have to know this information when we get further in the class. It's called ifconfig. Windows command is an ipconfig, and Linux is ifconfig. And it just displays the network information for the operating system. For example, in this server, my IP address on this virtual machine is 192.168.78.129. Another command that you'll be using quite often is called sudo. Sudo stands for super user do, and it's how you perform a task with admin privileges. To show you an example, if I go back to the root directory, this is the root directory of the operating system. Say I want to create a folder here, and I'll name it CIT. And it tells me, no, I cannot do that. My permission is denied. In order to create a directory here, I would have to do it with admin credentials or privileges. So I will type sudo mkdir CIT. And it creates the folder. So you'll be using that command. You'll find a lot of tasks that you do within the operating system won't let you do it unless you do it with admin privileges. The last thing I wanted to show you is apt-get, and this is a tool that is used to automatically update your Linux operating system and to install programs and packages. There are really three main commands that you'll see often. Apt-get update, which updates the packages and programs that are currently installed on your Linux operating system. There's apt-get upgrade, which upgrades the programs and packages, and there's apt-get install, which installs new programs and packages. So for example, if I was going to install Apache, I would have to sudo it because it's not going to let me do it regularly. Apt install and get Apache